All right, welcome. Good evening. It's the Worst Fans podcast, and tonight we are super stoked because we've got something very exciting happening tomorrow. A new season 3 of The Mandalorian, a great Star Wars show, an actual great Star Wars show that might as well be one of the movies if you ask us. So that's pretty exciting. We're not going to really mention anything else. Guys, how you doing tonight?
Can't complain. Pretty good.
Still alive, so that's good.
All right. Yep. That's Buck. That's Marco. We're cousins and brothers. Let's get this going. So I've been, as you know, kind of into my retro game collection. And tonight, since it's Star Wars, decided I would show something that I am pretty stoked about here. This is the Star Wars
look at that
arcade for 32X, which I never had this growing up. I do remember the arcade. It wasn't the same arcade you're probably thinking of, which is a Star Wars trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
This one was before that, so they adapted it into a 32X game. Only game I have. I just need a 32X now. But it's kind of nice because it's complete in box, manual, everything. So it's it's nice it's a nice shelf piece, if anything. So
very nice.
Right. And then a couple more Star Wars games. This time for Dreamcast. This one, you guys, I'm sure Buck, you probably had this, but you had a different version of it. Star Wars.
I had it on 64.
Yeah, that's what I had it on too. I never played the Dreamcast version, but essentially it came out a couple years after the 64, maybe 1 or 2 years after. And Dreamcast, if you don't know, which if you're watching this podcast, I don't know how you don't know, but this was Sega's very last console before they quit the console business. Mm-hmm. And it was out before the PlayStation 2, and it was the first console that had that PlayStation 2 graphics look to it. So everything on there looked amazing. And I do remember the commercials for a Madden game. My roommate at the time, I was a freshman in college, and his exact words were, "Look at those graphics," because the commercial, like, damn, that looks like the movements were so smooth. It was like 60 frames back then even. So it looked so good. So imagine Racer, which was not the greatest game, but it was so hyped from after episode 1.
Episode 1, right.
Yeah, it made such a good, and even the first time I watched episode 1, I was thinking, this could be a good video game, actually. And I was so stoked when I saw they made it, and it was for N64. I was like, best system I have right now, so it's pretty good.
I'm trying, it's funny, I'm trying to remember the game itself. I mean, it was...
I didn't love it. I didn't
love it. I mean, it was kind of like, I would say a mixture of Mario Kart and Twisted Metal, but not really. It was...
No, it's
like all the game, I guess. I mean, like the movie. But...
Yeah, it's just racing.
It was just racing,
Yeah, there's no weapons. There is no destruction. I mean, you could crash into a rock, but then they just start you over the back. Excuse me. I do have a Dreamcast, so I played it, and it plays better than I remember on the Nintendo 64, because 64 was great for its time, but it was still blocky, and textures were something. So this looks pretty good. It's definitely, from what I've understood, the best version of this game that was ever released. Maybe if there was a PC version, it was probably on par with this, but there's that. Now, this game I never ever played on any system, and it only came out for 2 systems, I think, which one was PlayStation. And out of the 2, this is definitely the one that's better looking. Y'all have heard of that? Speaking of
that, yes. Yes. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically a destruction derby with Star Wars vehicles, which is a pretty fun idea, really.
Now that's more like Twisted
Metal. That was like Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
That was like Twisted Metal.
There you go. Yeah, it's the destruction derby. It's more like Twisted Metal. Yeah, but I mean, it's got every character, not every character, but a lot of really fun ones. Well, actually, there's only 2 that are legit characters in here, and that is Boba Fett and Aura Singh from the comics, and I guess she was in Clone Wars too.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Rancor, it looks like a Rancor, and it might have been the actual original Rancor, like Wrangler from Jabba the Hutt's palace. Anyway,
maybe.
I tried it. I actually had a hard time getting into it. I didn't truly get into it, but it's kind of a fun, at this point, collector's piece. So
yeah.
Yep. And then something not Star Wars, but I found it, and I thought this was great too. Also, it was available on PlayStation, again, because Dreamcast was like a PS2. Here we go.
Oh, I remember that game too.
Hail to the King,
most of these games are PlayStations that I remember.
They are. Yeah. They made a lot. They ported over a lot of PlayStation games to Dreamcast, and it was like having it on a newer gen system. It's kind of like, think about when, I don't want to use the PS4 to PS5 because, let's face it, while there's some definite differences, it doesn't feel like a new generation. But it'd be more like, I guess, possibly like a PS3 to a PS4 had a major change, but even still, I think this is the best example. Mm-hmm. PS1 to PS2 was grand, and so a game that looked like PS1, but then you bring it to Dreamcast, and it's essentially a PlayStation 2 game now.
Yeah.
Major difference. So Yeah, I actually haven't had a chance to play it yet since I've gotten it, but yeah, it brings you back, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not
All
bad.
right, the only non-Star Wars thing of our
Yeah.
podcast.
Actually, that Star Wars Demolition game. I think they remade that one for PS4. PS4.
Did they?
I
Really?
believe they remastered and rendered it
No
for
way.
PS4. You might have to check the PlayStation app if you have it.
I'll try it. Yeah, that
But
sounds good.
if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like $5.
Well,
on there.
I love
You
the
might be
Star
right.
Wars. I like that you showed the Star Wars games because the kids should be reminded that there was a time where there was a variety of Star Wars
Yeah.
games.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
many.
Before Disney took over and
Before
EA
we've been
Sports,
limited to about one that's
Yeah.
good so far recently.
not
Yeah.
even. I mean, it's
Oh,
crazy.
Fallen Order and Survivor. Those are my top two right now.
Well,
So
I mean, and then Battlefront, which was just a remake of the old one,
yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Battlefront,
That's
you know,
it.
I liked it for a minute, but it was like because there was no Battlefront 2 I like better because at least there was a single player game in it. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it had more, but it's funny how I was way more addicted to the
old
older
one.
ones.
The
Oh,
older
for
one,
sure,
the
yeah.
older one, the Galactic Conquest,
I
and the older one,
mean,
you could be on there and
me
play
and my
like a
brother-
whole campaign. You know, like
We used to part 2. We played that to
God.
death. I remember
The
being
good old
played
days.
it all the time, man. It was crazy.
that was all we
Yeah.
played. That Revenge of the Sith, like it was those were awesome Star Wars games. I
Yeah.
love those.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
I mean, I'm not saying like they were all like classics, but there was so much
Yeah.
variety that you
Well,
could
it
pick
was-
and choose.
it was kind of like that's what we had back then. I mean, yes,
Yeah.
we did have movies. So that was, when Racer came out, that was like the cusp of a new generation. Episode 1 just came out. So that was good, but then when that was over, it's like, well, there's nothing anymore. We have the games and the books. That was all we had to survive and get us through it. And it's kind of, we always go back to that. It's like the fans kept it going because they were buying collectible toys and books and comic books and video games. If one came out, that was a grand day. That was like a movie came out for us.
Yeah.
God, especially you go back to Galaxies, Knights of the Old Republic. There was just great games.
Public
we should do
Commando. There's so many.
next podcast. We need to do like a Star Wars games favorite.
Yeah,
Star
that's
Wars
not a bad
games.
idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jedi Academy. There's so many. Yeah.
Oh,
there
yeah,
are
Jedi
a lot.
Academy.
Yeah,
Oh,
I have all those on Steam on my library. Yeah.
I have them all. Yeah, I have them all on Steam actually. Yeah, so.
Yeah. Switch even is bringing a lot of them out, including Republic Commando,
Knights
and
of the
Jedi
Republic,
Academy.
and
Yep, you can get them all on Switch, which is good. At least it introduces it to the new gen, because otherwise you'd have to have the only way to play back in the day Knights of the Republic was PC or Xbox.
they did tease that trailer that they were going to remaster Knights of the Republic, but
Right.
then it just got delayed to like
Flopped.
2028.
Yeah.
And then when they do announce a Star Wars game, literally that last one, was it Eclipse?
Yeah. Eclipse,
Yes,
remember?
also
Remember that one? Yeah.
2024 6 or something like that now.
Oh, it was like 2026,
And that
was
trailer
2
looked
years ago.
awesome. I was like, "What is this?"
But it was
game?
a trailer. It was no
But-
gameplay or anything.
Yeah, it
so
was like a
wasn't-
cinematic. It was a good
Cinematic,
cinematic, but
yeah.
it's like the Old Republic MMO had cinematics that were that good. And in fact, maybe better ones. Remember those fights, those duels for the
for SWTOR?
the old-
Star Wars,
yeah.
the online game.
God.
Oh, those
the Republic.
cinematics
yeah,
were
those
like-
are awesome.
Those are amazing.
Mhm.
Oh man,
They came
like,
out with a
going to
new
see
one
movie of
actually
that.
like last year, I think, because they're still releasing DLCs
They're
for that
still
game.
really, yeah, that's right. They are.
Mhm.
Let's
That's
get on
right.
and play that some night. That would be a
Yeah.
great podcast.
Let's play Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Hey,
Yeah.
and live streaming.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
there
would
you
be
That's
go.
fun.
old school, man. We'd start over. Everybody get a
Yeah.
new class. I mean,
I have like a
That
level
would be-
38 Juggernaut Sith or something.
It's funny. That was maybe my last MMO, and I had a
Yeah.
Sith that was probably in the 30s, and I started a Jedi Consular. I don't know, maybe
Yeah, I
got
was
to
I
level
was
10.
I was Zabrak. I remember. I was.
I was also a
Yeah.
Zabrak, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I tried them all. I was Republic Commando, and then I did
I have
a
I
Chith.
think I leveled up
Grand
a
Admiral
bounty
Thrawn
hunter a
species.
little bit, and then I went Sith, and then I
Yeah.
tried Jedi. I was bored. I was like, I don't want to do Jedi.
Yeah, you had enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
that was
man.
actually that was the last I think Star Wars game that came out before the takeover, right? Because that came out like around 2011,
About that.
around
Yeah,
there.
right around
So
there.
then
actually.
and then 2012 was
maybe.
when Disney bought Star Wars, and then that no longer
Unless
was
you're
canon
counting,
anymore.
unless you're not counting Lego Star Wars, but because
No,
Yeah,
I mean because Lego Star Wars.
Clone
I mean,
Wars.
no, that's yeah.
I mean, I guess I know what you're saying though, Buck. It's like original
Yeah.
story. Is this even? In fact, I kind of think they said we're gonna keep
When
it
did
going because it was a moneymaker.
when did
you know?
Force
No,
Unleashed come out?
they kept it
I don't even
going,
know.
but it was kind of like it was
Force
pushed
Unleashed was
aside, so
before
it
that.
wasn't like canon anymore. Really, it was just part
I think
of the.
Yeah, Force Unleashed, bro, was probably like 2006 or 7. Because I remember buying it accidentally like a dumbass. I bought it for Wii.
I remember that. Yeah.
Thinking it was gonna be the best. Oh yeah, you happened to come visit.
You were
I was
no,
like,
no, I didn't come visit. No, we were talking on the phone, and you were so pissed because
I was like, this
I
looks
got
like
the
a
Wii, and I was
PlayStation 2
happy
game.
with it. And you're like, you got mad because I convinced you to get it for the Wii because of the remote control. We thought, oh yeah, this is gonna be like
Gonna be the
a real
best, yeah.
lightsaber.
I'm not
And you're
gonna
like,
get
it
it.
sucked.
I also
Yeah.
forgot about the this another Star Wars game coming out called Star Wars Hunters. So I don't know if you heard about that one.
Oh yeah,
but
on the
it's
Switch,
it's on the Switch, and it's
I
kind of
had
like
fun with that.
it's kind of like a
Yeah.
League of Legends deal where it's like a battle arena. It's like a MOBA, but it's Star Wars, and it takes place between episodes 6 and 7.
It's not my
Yeah.
style, but it would be fun because it is like, hey, it's just a quick round. Hey, let's jump in and play kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like I used to like Overwatch, and it looked to me kind of like something like that.
Oh
but maybe I'm wrong.
look! I just found this. Like the first thing, they remastered Racers too. Racers for PS4.
I'll be damned, and I just
okay.
freaking got it.
Racers and
Oh,
Republic Commando.
Commando.
Well, Republic Commando's
yeah.
been out there for a while now, I think.
Nice.
Well, there was another one too called Racer Revenge, and that one was released on PlayStation.
Wait,
2.
no, they came out with Vader Immortal before the buyout, didn't they? Or did Disney already buy them out?
Oh, that was recent. Yeah, Vader Immortals.
That was
Actually,
recent. Okay, yeah.
Do you remember there's a PlayStation 1 game, a Star Wars game that was a
Jedi
like
Power
a,
Battles.
like a that's it. Yeah, it was like a Street Fighter style, right? Yeah.
So funny thing, I had that in my hand for Dreamcast because they did it on that. I had it back in the day for PlayStation 1, but I was like between the three. I'm like, I had Power Battles on PlayStation. I'll come back to it. So hopefully one day I can get that one too. But that's funny. And then there was Obi-Wan, which on Xbox only.
I had Obi-Wan. Yes, I have. Actually, I still have it. But yeah,
they need to re-release that one because that was the only Xbox game.
Yeah.
It has not come out on PC even. That's probably the only.
I remember when it came out. That was my first game I got for Xbox when I got it, and
yeah.
I remember it got horrible reviews. I loved it. I thought
I did
fun.
too.
It was so much
like,
fun. So I was like, it was great.
Oh man, it was good. And my other one I got on Xbox. God, we have to move off this topic, I guess. But Jedi Outcast.
That was a good one. I remember that one.
Yeah.
Man, I love that game. And
actually, I first had it for PC, but it didn't work well because my PC was crap. Then I got it for Xbox. God, how I love that game.
Oh my god. So Buck and I, we are old school, and I had originally on the Macintosh Dark Forces, which was the original Jedi Knight game. It's before they called it Jedi Knight, but it was Kyle Katarn's appearance. You're Kyle Katarn, and you're stealing the Death Star plans. It was Rogue One long before Rogue One came out. And it was a Doom clone, a Wolfenstein 3D, a Doom clone, but a Star Wars. And it was cool because Doom was like you can only shoot straight. If anything's above you, you shoot towards it and it'll shoot upwards. This Star Wars, you could tilt up and down. You didn't get a lightsaber; it was just shooter only. And then the second game was in an actual polygonal 3D environment. That was Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight. Buck, you really loved that game. You went on and on about it, and I had at that point my computer crapped out and it wasn't good, so I didn't touch it for a while. And then I finally got something that was good enough to play it, and I love that one. And then it's expansion Mysteries of the Sith.
Yes, I remember that one too. Yeah, because they were cinematic too. They had like movie scenes where it was
full motion video,
great. Yeah,
filmed like actors.
That's the first time I actually saw a yellow lightsaber. Was in. So it was like, oh shit.
Yeah. I just remember when me and Buck were living in Cooper City with our dad. I forgot what I was doing. I was really young, so I don't remember what I was doing. But Buck gets me from my room. I remember this. He's like, Buck, come here. I'm like, what? What do you want me to do? And then he goes to the computer like that we all shared. And it was like one computer, and he's on the computer playing a Star Wars game. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, look, it's your cousin Rhett. I'm like, what? Yeah. What do you mean it's my cousin? It was Star Wars Galaxies. And then and then he's like, look, and he types the word like hug and like hash dance, and then you guys hug. And I was like, that's so cool. Can I play? He's like, no.
No, you don't know.
You can't play.
Pay for this by the month, yeah. Golly. Good stuff.
Oh man, yeah.
But Jedi Outcast, I love it. They've never changed. Now you have dual sticks, and dual sticks on any controller is always like move with one and then turn and look around with the other one.
Yeah.
But back then it was the second stick on the Xbox was your lightsaber swing. If you moved it up, you swung it up. If you moved it to the left, you swung it left.
That's interesting. Back then,
this was long before first person shooters adapted the normal thing. So they were still figuring out how to work 3D. And for me at the time, I felt like this is great. You swing your lightsaber with this one and you move the guy with this one. It just felt so right. And they never went back to that because once they figured out, use the triggers. Maybe that's why I didn't like Battlefront 2 as much, because I remember I love that you could use the stick for the swinging the lightsaber left, right. I was like, I have control of this lightsaber. And Battlefront, you pull the trigger and they swing the
Yeah,
lightsaber
just
however
swing
they
it.
want to
Yeah,
swing it. And I was like, oh, I don't like that. I feel like I have less control, So
and
that might
they're
have been
more
my
thinking of
original
like the
shooter element.
non-simplicity. Like, I mean, it's just simplistic. Just like you're a Jedi,
Yeah.
because not everyone's gonna play a Jedi, so it's like they have to work with the mechanics
Sure.
a little bit.
Oh, sure. And by that point, Halo and Counter Strike, like
Yeah.
everything first person shooter was out, and those controls were the right way to go. And you just can't convince people to go back to an old way.
No,
It's like,
yeah.
that makes sense, but
Nope.
all right, I think we've gone enough down the game route.
Yes,
We
yes, that was
definitely
a
do a lot.
fantastic video game topic for.
It actually
Yeah.
was. Sometimes
Yeah.
we just throw these curveball topics. They just come. They
Yes,
just naturally
yes.
come out, and it's
Yeah.
like, hey,
But
All
now
right, well,
on to our main topic of the night.
We've got a hell of a exciting time because tomorrow, March 1st, 2023. Right now, yeah, there it is. No one knows. Right now, we have no idea what we're getting into, but man, it could be a mind blower. Like, we didn't know what we're getting into when season 2 started. And we got an amazing episode with the Ahsoka Dave Filoni directed episode. Holy crap. Best episode. At that point, I was like, they're never going to beat this. That was
and to think this was 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
This is
Crazy.
Waiting.
I can't believe it's been that long.
We've
It's
been
crazy.
patient. My life was different 3 years ago, man.
Honestly, mine too.
Yeah, my life was different too.
That's right. All of us had quite a different world.
Yeah.
Things changed ever since Luke Skywalker came into our lives. But yeah, that was the big mind blow. Who could it be? Who's going to be the big cameo of this final episode? And all the rumors, it could be.
It could have been Mace Windu.
Oh yeah,
so many rumors. Who's
Plo
going to be Jedi was going to show
was
up,
another one.
Yeah, all these. Even I remember one was like Luke Skywalker, and they showed like an older version. I was like, no, they would never.
Well, I remember Luke was a rumor, but they also said Sebastian Stan was going to play him.
Yeah.
So it was like, and I'm like, man, they're not going to do that. There's no way Luke's going to show up. That's just way too cool. No way. They're not going to do that.
Second that X-Wing flew by, I was like, oh.
Oh God!
I knew it.
My heart just stopped, man. Oh, it was.
Dude, Marco and I talked. I think we actually watched it live, so we were texting each other, sort of afterwards. I don't know. So it was like 3 a.m. for me.
Yeah.
No, it was midnight. I was on the West Coast. It was only midnight.
It was 3 for me, midnight for you. Yeah.
Whew. Yeah, so it wasn't too hard for me.
That was so hard for me. I wasn't working, so I didn't care.
Oh yeah, we were both like, I'm crying. I'm literally crying here. It's like I'm a man crying over Star Wars, which is what happens because we're geeks.
Yeah.
But it was just it was great to see like what we all felt was the right Luke, and we just knew it's like someone gets it finally.
It was Luke in his prime, kicking ass.
It was so good. It was so good.
And it's funny because even I remember seeing it, and I mean, visually his face, you could tell it looked weird, but you didn't even care because it was just like we got him back. It was
they made up for it in Boba Fett. Honestly, Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Oh, the
pristine.
Visuals.
Yeah. He looked. I thought it was there.
Yes. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. In Book of Boba Fett, he looked amazing. I was like, holy crap.
In Book of Boba Fett, he looked fantastic.
Yeah.
You move on to that, and we got a year. I guess 2 years later. 2 years later, we got Book of Boba Fett around December, I think it was.
Which was Mando season
2.5.
2.5.
2.5. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, but hey, it is what it is. I mean,
it's what it is. So it's fine. I mean,
yeah,
I had my issues with
the thing is, season 2 of Mando. I mean, it was besides the Luke episode. That whole season was full of cool cameos,
Bo-Katan and things like everything.
I mean, you call it fan service, whatever, but it was such a I don't know, maybe because we were just coming back from the disappointment of the sequel trilogy, and it was just a real down moment for Star Wars fans.
Yeah,
having what they did with Mando season 2, it lifted my spirits again. It gave me hope again. And it was so great. So I'm wondering if season 3 can actually match that. That same. I mean, I don't know if it can, but I think we will get cool stuff for sure.
Dude, it's like when you really go back to the very end of season 1 and you saw the Darksaber. That's when we all kind of shit a brick, like, oh my god, this is going to get into the Filoni stuff.
Yeah,
like the actual. This is
full
great.
Filoniverse, because that Darksaber it travels far, like it's deep in Filoni.
Clone Wars, Rebels, it's all over.
Yeah.
So then you get into season 2, and if I remember, it's like it started with like a boxing match. It was like interesting, but like a lot of people were like, it's kind of slow. I need to see what happens. For me, it felt the most Star Wars. Even those first 2 episodes when they're at there's like an Imperial stronghold, and they went there for whatever reason, I don't even know anymore. And that was the episode. They were on some like swoop bikes, and there was what was his old ship, the one that blew up? What was it
The
called?
Razor Crest.
Thank you. Razor Crest is doing some awesome Star Wars maneuvers. There was, shooting down TIE fighters and being chased by them, and it just had so much Star Wars in it. There's Imperial stormtroopers getting shot down. It felt like a great Star Wars couple of episodes, and that was almost enough for me. And then you throw in Ahsoka, and we're like, or you throw in Bo-Katan, and you're like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We're talking about go to this planet. You'll find I don't know if they called her a Jedi, but named Ahsoka Tano, and it's like, oh my God, we're gonna get this. This is actually happening.
Yeah.
And then it does, and it was the greatest, Japanese-inspired episode that there ever was. With you and Michael Biehn. I mean, it's like, what?
Yeah,
they threw out all stops,
Yeah,
They gave us the HK Hunter Killer, whatever that droid was from Knights of the Republic. God, what was his name? HK-47, right?
The one from.
He was a shit talking droid from Knights of the Republic, the original game. He was in your party, but they used his model. That was the security droids that Michael Biehn had. Yeah, they were climbing up the roofs and stuff.
I remember now.
He threw in every little thing.
Yeah. Not to mention he brought back Boba Fett.
Yeah, that's also true.
I mean, that was another thing.
A good episode. That was a good one. Like everyone was hoping for that Boba Fett, but it's okay. Sorry. So it built and built, and it's like this was it. This season alone, we talked about this, was like this might as well have been our sequel trilogy. It was so much better.
Yeah.
More time, more content. That would have been great. So now let's talk about the next Star Wars show, other than like Visions. I'm talking about like live action. Bad Batch happened, but Boba Fett was the next one, right? After Mandalorian season 2.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Live action.
Yeah.
We felt it was a dip. Like I think it had strong points, but it had some severely underperforming, like made for TV, poor acting, children oriented things like those cyberpunk guys.
It was a very weird mixed blend of things that were just.
You could almost tell
odd.
They didn't know what they were. I think they were like, let's just go ahead and make a show. Like instead of adding these episodes into side stories in Mandalorian, I think they said, how about we make a side story in Boba Fett of Mandalorian? I think they were just kind of like, we have content and it doesn't really fit together, so make its own thing.
Yeah.
So
it definitely had some cool things. It did. It just, a lot of it didn't match, and I have a feeling thinking more about it, I think it was more to do with meddling. Someone was putting their 2 cents in, and they were fighting to get control of it.
Oh, you're probably right about that. Yeah.
So I think that's what happened.
So, absolutely, that's what happened. It has to be.
So yeah,
it had cool moments, but it was definitely, if you count, I mean, the Luke stuff was great. The Ahsoka part was good. The Mando stuff was really good.
I would say the first 2 episodes also with
I enjoyed those.
Were good. I enjoyed those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone thought it was going to be more of a underground kind of gangster kind of story, and it wasn't.
It's sad. It's I don't know. I feel like a show called Book of Boba Fett and the episodes that people like the most are the ones without Boba Fett in it. It says something. I don't know. It's just.
I mean, just when you saw like at the end, what was it, the end of Mando of season 2, where you saw like him going to Jabba's palace
scene.
You know, he shoots what's his face?
Bib Fortuna.
And he takes the throne like a badass like this, right? I mean, you're thinking, oh, this is gonna be Scarface. This is gonna be like the next,
and what's
Godfather.
The girl?
She's like posing behind him.
Mulan is like, that's my boy. Cracks the vodka or whatever. It starts going.
So it gave the impression we're gonna get into something like very like Sopranos type, deep.
And it said he turns into like, hello, how's it going? Here's your soccer ball back. Hello, neighbor. You doing good? All right.
It was just like, that's not what I.
And it's like, like you see him take this throne, and then it's like, no, actually, you don't have it yet. You have to, do something else first. It's like, what?
Which I guess it's kind of hard to do that also because now we have Mando's kind of like the new Boba Fett, right? But they could have still played into Boba not being all good. He could have been a little both. He could have been
that would have been a good
but bad at the same time. It was, I don't know.
Because he I don't know. They turned him into like really good. Like it's not like pure bad. Like he's not vigilante anymore. He totally changed his character.
The story he told when he was captured by the Tusken Raiders, it changed him. He wasn't the same person anymore. It was like he was reborn. It was weird. So,
yeah, very weird.
Yeah, I don't know. He was like almost my least favorite part of the whole thing. I don't want to say that because there were moments where I thought he was pretty good, but then there's some it wasn't. The Cyberpunk guys were no good.
Cyberpunks were the worst. Yeah.
Oh God, they were terrible. Terrible.
But there was, a couple of good things. I really like that guy Vanth. I think his name was
Cobb Vanth.
Yeah.
Cobb Vanth. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a cool character.
And then we got Cad Bane.
Cad Bane. Yes.
Cad Bane was cool.
That was cool.
Cad Bane. Even the way he looked, I loved everything. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
He's good, and he's got to be still alive. That thing was beeping. Whatever it was beeping on his chest, like, life support or something. So, however, we could at least say Mandalorian season 2 got us to a point we have never been since Disney bought Star Wars. It was the peak for me. Rogue One was the closest, but this was like it bumped up even higher to that to me. Then Boba Fett, I would say was good, but a step down. It wasn't anywhere close to, in my opinion, Boba Fett was still better than any 3 of the sequel trilogy movies. I'd take Boba Fett.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I would say that. Yeah. I mean, I still, it disappointed, but I did kind of enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. It was still enjoyable. It just wasn't to our expectations.
Yeah. So, then we got Obi-Wan.
Well, I was gonna get to that, but I was about to say,
go ahead.
Remember we VR'd Boba Fett.
Oh yeah, I think most of the episodes,
in the
right?
theater. Yeah, like it was like.
Yeah. And it felt cinematic. It felt great. So
is that something we should try again, or like with Mando?
For Mando,
I would like to. It's just finding time to do it.
Yeah.
Because we have to basically wait the whole day and not get spoiled. Which is impossible. Because of Boba Fett was hard. I was like, oh my god, Mando would be worse.
Yeah, Mando would be horrible, dude.
Oh yeah.
When does it premiere? Because I might just need to watch
tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Midnight? No, and I know that, but
tonight, 3 a.m.
Yeah, I'm gonna get up like a 4 or 5 in the morning. See it. Fuck it.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Maybe I will get up early. I don't know. We'll see. So
I might have to too. I don't know.
We should all get up and stream it together. We'll watch
it. Live party with our coffee. So you were getting to my point, which is Mando season 2, Boba Fett, and then the next thing was Obi-Wan,
which should have been a home run, easy home run.
Should have been. They didn't even have to write anything original. We all had in our head basically what happened. We just wanted to see it play out. Yes. We all knew it's like, hey, it's him doing old man shit. He's gonna have terrible memories of Anakin and him and Vader, and he's gonna cry. And Qui-Gon should be helping him figure out how to use the Force to become a ghost. That's all it needs to be. Maybe he helps some settlers and deals with some Jabba shit. Who knows? Just basic stuff. But I think Boba Fett took away what I wanted. The worst villain in Obi-Wan should have been nothing more than like gangsters or highway robbers trying to hurt Luke's family, and he's just out there protecting him behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I felt like Boba Fett kind of had that vibe to it. So doing that again was probably not a great move.
Yeah.
And then Kathleen Kennedy had to go say Battle of the Century or Rematch of the Century.
Right,
so let's face it, there might have been a few good moments out of Obi-Wan. Personally, I liked actually 2 episodes. I liked maybe 2 episodes after that, and then there was like 2 or I don't know how many there were anymore.
It's honestly just one for me. Crap. That's it.
It was just one. Look, I'll tell you the problem with Obi-Wan for me. The biggest problem with me is because after Mando, season 1 and 2, and even the Book of Boba Fett, even though it was a disappointment, but I still enjoyed it. Obi-Wan reminded me on how different and how far apart Star Wars is when it comes to Kathleen Kennedy and when it's run with Filoni and Favreau. Because Favreau and Filoni, they still have that space where they bring back that old Star Wars feeling because they know Star Wars. And then we go to when Kathleen Kennedy's in control, which she very much was with Obi-Wan. You could tell. She had her face right in front. I like that. That's cool.
There he is, Obi-Wan, right there.
And it reminded you of the sequel trilogy. It reminded you of that failure. It hurt me so bad watching that show because it almost took the same kind of
sequel trilogy. Yeah,
because I remember after watching like the 4th episode, we're like, nothing's gonna happen, is it? Like it's too late. I mean, like they barely wasted this whole time. I'm like, just like the sequel trilogy, there's nothing to save it at this point. It's like, wow.
And what a good comparison. You're right, because it starts out and we're excited as shit. The Force Awakens, we're like, I'm good. I don't know what's happening, but it's like, I love what I just felt. That felt good to me. Keep tickling me that same way. And then the second episode, you're like, all right, well, what's going to happen now? Keep going. that third one, you're like, I'm starting to get a little worried. This is like by
that
the
weird
third one,
Vader fight was very cheapy looking. Like it felt out of
yes.
place. I don't understand, but okay. The
Well, for
fourth
me,
one's
that was.
gonna bring it home because Obi-Wan is in a coma.
Wait. Let's compare. Yeah, let's compare because like after that Vader fight, to me, and I know you may or may not disagree, but I have a feeling you actually could. That was to me when Snoke died in the Last Jedi. I'm like, okay, what? Like I'm right. I'm at that point. You're almost right in the middle of the entire sequel trilogy.
Yes.
It's the middle point of the middle movie, and you're like, what did you just do? Like that middle fight with Vader. So it's like the parallel. Force Awakens, pretty excited. Third episode, fourth episode is the right into the Last Jedi world, and you're like, okay, is this gonna turn around? This doesn't feel like it's about to turn around here. I think you're sticking down. You're going the wrong way.
Yep.
And then go ahead. You finish with
you finish that. You're like, okay, that was a strange episode, but you're thinking, all right, this is definitely going to lead up to the flashbacks of Clone Wars because it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Obi-Wan's hurt, he's burned, he's going to be in a bacta tank. They're going to go through some flashbacks,
and it's going to get us there. Yeah.
Holy shit! They give us the worst episode ever, and I'm like, oh my god, there's only 2 episodes left. I don't think anything's going to happen. It's like, wait a minute, you know? Oh my god! It was, and then,
sorry.
Yeah, I just,
and so for me, I had moments I actually liked in Rise of Skywalker, but there's plenty that was like you should have never gone down this particular path.
Yeah,
and I think there was moments where I was like, you should have never brought Reva into this thing. It was like bringing Emperors like that should have never been a part of the story.
Never had Leia be kidnapped twice and have her such a big part of the story. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. Once was enough. You could have had that for once. Be like, all right, now you go about your merry way, and let's continue.
What about that one pathetic flashback sequence? That cheap ass. Like that's all we got. That's it.
That's all we got.
That could have been the episode 1 flashback, and then it would have episode 2 have something. Hey, now they're a little older. They're in the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
now.
Man.
Like, let's keep going with this.
Stupid.
And then get it to where it's like they're battered and torn, and they're out in the world. Like they needed great like Vietnam era war conversations, like this is live action now. Let's put that in live action.
Basically, you could tell in the show Obi-Wan Kenobi, they didn't know what the hell they were doing. They just they don't know Star Wars. They don't know Star Wars.
They rewrote the script because Kathleen Kennedy wanted them to. It was too dark. I'm curious to see what the first outline was. I heard Darth Maul was supposed to be in it. A bunch of cool shit that they just took out.
Jesus.
And so it was crap. It was crap. And then a lot of people give the show a pass because the last episode of the Obi-Wan and Vader fight was so good, but it didn't feel earned. It felt empty.
Didn't.
So, that whole ending, even though it was quite like emotional when that whole, you see Vader with the half mask.
Moment. That was a good moment.
It was a great moment. It wasn't earned though.
Yeah.
And then let's finish it off with, even though, oh my God, it was great to see Qui-Gon. It was just as bad as basically having Rey Skywalker. Because
that was a Rey Skywalker moment.
After all that he went through, you show up then. That's when you show up when he doesn't even need you anymore.
It felt like he took his sunglasses off, like, oh, I've been in Hawaii or something.
It made no sense.
I'm here now. You
like
can do it on your own.
No. I've been here all along, Obi-Wan. You just haven't seen him. Like, what?
Oh, that made no sense.
He almost died like 3 times.
And even there. There was one moment in the fight I was like, I don't think they know what they're doing. Did you notice it was that they pulled away for a shot early on when they're swinging lightsabers, and Vader makes a move that is really quick, and it's like he does like a backspin and the saber just goes around him and he like stretches real far, and it's a move that he should not be able to do in his robot body. Like George Lucas was pretty adamant about saying when they fight in episode 4, there's a reason it doesn't look like Revenge of the Sith. They're old, they're beaten. Vader is practically a robot, so their movements are intentionally not great. And the way Vader was swinging, it looked like he might as well have been a ninja. I was like, that was a little too fast. And I thought Rogue One, pat them on the back for doing it right, because he was quick, but it was very like, you could tell it's like him and his robot body doing the best he can, but because he's so amazing, he did it without looking like he's still completely human.
Well, he wasn't really fighting anyone with any force ability. He was just
dodging lightsabers and such.
Right.
But I'll give you that. You're right. He wasn't in a lightsaber duel, but
even
they made it look like you could still, if you were a Jedi or a Sith, you could look like you're doing acrobats and all kinds of stuff. And they just kept him like very, I'm blocking stuff.
Yeah.
And then that fight, go back and find it. There is a shot where it just looks like, what kind of move was that? That can't be Vader.
Even
that's a
hold on, even in the
me,
even in the animated series like Rebels, when they show Vader fighting, it's his slow movement robot. It's not anything crazy. And in animation, you can actually like do crazy stuff and make them move really quick, but they actually stay true to Vader's fighting style, which is slow and strong. And
no one told that director that. I'm sure of it.
No one.
You realize he doesn't know how to move.
Not even Obi-Wan. Right? Obi-Wan's supposed to be a lot older. He's not even supposed to. Look, I don't understand how is it that he was so badly hurt in Episode 3. And I mean, he hadn't used the Force in years, and all of a sudden he fights Vader, and he's like this moment. He's all powerful. Like it didn't make any sense at all. It was so stupid. I couldn't get over it. It was. I mean, he's lifting rocks like these heavy ass boulders at like nothing. I'm like 2 episodes ago, he couldn't even. I mean, he
can barely move a little pen or whatever the hell he was trying to move the other day.
He was Garth. What's that?
Yeah, exactly. Garth moment. Oh God, don't remind me about that. Yeah, it's terrible.
You know. It's like that's where we were guessing, we were writing the better story for us at the end of our episodes. Like, here's what's gonna happen. You said it, the back to tank, Clone Wars stuff, and at that moment, by the end of that, it would be like Qui-Gon.
It wasn't
waking
just
him
me.
up.
A lot of people thought that. Everyone.
But you know, imagine like Qui-Gon waking him up out of his dream, and when he wakes, he's like, "Am I still dreaming?" And he sees Qui-Gon, and he's there to like, "I'm here to pick you back up. I'm here to get you where you need to be again. You know, you're my Padawan once again. So Padawan, get yourself together, and we're gonna figure out how to get your Force back." Like it would have been. So how do they? Silver platter. You know, here's all your Star Wars fans love and money right back. Just do it right. That's all they have to do. So, Mandalorian season 2, Boba Fett, Obi-Wan. Now, something that happened not too long ago, Andor, and I'd say Andor brought itself about halfway up. It was like Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Andor's right about
this is Boba Fett. This is Andor for me. Like
Boba Fett's about here. Boba Fett's a third of the way up. Yeah. Andor's about halfway. Mando was hit the roof. You know, you brought Luke back that way. It topped up. Obi-Wan down here. Yeah. All right.
And look, Andor did what Rogue One continued, right? So it was just,
absolutely.
That's why it was so great.
And what a different style, like adult,
different
cyber,
vibe.
Like
it was adult. Yes.
Yeah, Blade
production wise,
fantastic.
Fantastic.
So
like Obi-Wan looked so cheap compared to it. It was
great. Oh, forget. Yeah, I mean the sets alone, the prison break, everything.
That prison break episode was amazing.
It was fantastic.
I almost felt like that was better than the finale. That prison break episode was great.
I love that prison break episode. Yeah.
For me, the heist episode and the prison break stole the show. They were so damn good. And you know what's funny? Because they built up to it. And I have to admit, there was a moment or two between episodes, maybe 2, 3. I was like, I'm kind of not totally entertained. I'm a little bored. But it was like, I was like, I see what I like stuff. I just, as right now, they need to kind of help me get there. But once they did, I was fine. I was like, I go back. I'm like, you know what? I like the build-up now. I can take it. It's just that I couldn't instantly get the gratification I wanted. But I was, after not being patient and getting something really rewarding,
and the show, even though it's just a side character, Andor, you know, you still see the connections to the original trilogy of, like, you know, Star Wars. That entire prison was made specifically to make parts for the Death Star. So it's just like they made a fantastic connection, and it's like, you know, they did it right. They did it right.
It's scary.
Yeah,
it could be.
You're cutting off, bro. You're cutting off.
He said.
He looks like Snoke right now. I wonder what he's about to say.
He's flipping us off.
No, that's what I was talking about.
So I know. I was like, you actually do like.
It could be building up to a Snoke theory, and it could be planting the seeds, because I think it's a little too coincidental. They have Andy Serkis in the show who played Snoke, and all of a sudden his character in the prison break suddenly backs up, says I can't swim, and you don't hear from him.
Never see him again.
Come on.
Yeah,
they could have easily killed him off if they wanted to.
And why ever cast him? It's not like that guy rarely plays a live action role. Of course, he's Alfred now in Batman, but that's about all I could think of. Every other thing is a CG.
Wakanda, when he was Claw.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, Black Panther.
Claw. Okay, you're right. Not too many, but it's too coincidental. So now let's start backtracking. You just said the most recent possible tie-in to the sequel trilogy that we would actually favor, because we need some Snoke answers. That guy was too short-lived. He could have been the proper villain, not Sidious again, because we all know he should have been Plagueis, but that story never came to be. So now if he's a creation, is he the reason why he and Palpatine's clone body, is that the reason why Grogu is so sought after in Mandalorian?
Oh,
We're gonna get to that
absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because now we've got this. What was his actual name? We keep calling him Andy Serkis.
I know, I forgot his name in Andor.
Kino Loy.
That's
Kino
it. Great job.
Hmm?
Well done. You remind me of the old me when I knew.
It's my.
Yeah, me too.
It's my fiance's last name, Loy, so that's why I remember.
So knowledgeable and everything. Now I just forget everything. So
what's that guy's name? So him being a potential lead to that is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan had potential leads, which was the Jedi frozen in amber carbonite, like Jurassic Park amber.
Doesn't make any sense.
That's interesting. Sorry. It didn't make any sense. No, I'm with you. I was like, when I'm looking at it, I was disappointed. Like, why?
A trophy collection.
Yeah, was it so to kill the
Jedi? I like the little kid Jedi. He looked like he was taking a dump.
Yeah. I mean, what is it? Was it preserved living Jedi? I guess it was, because that's why they would show it that way.
But they were dead. But like, what was the then, like what?
Why were they?
In Mando, they introduced the whole cloning thing, right? Because you have that.
Wait. Before that, all right. So I'm trying to go in the backwards order now. So Andor, we had the Snoke guy, maybe Snoke guy. He sounded just like him on the microphone. Then Obi-Wan, we had this preserved. Like, why are they keeping Force users? That's interesting. And then Book of Boba Fett is where we see the flashback of Grogu in the Jedi Temple.
Yeah,
that was the first flashback. Yeah. Actually, okay. So I forgot. In Obi-Wan, they had that too. Didn't they? Yeah, he had his flashback in Obi-Wan.
Well,
no, it was Reva.
Reva had the flashback.
It was Reva, but we went back there. Okay, so that wasn't really connected to that. But then, yeah, you go to Boba Fett, and that's where we had Grogu's actual flashback of what he saw, because Luke had him chill out, imagine stuff, and we see, like, through his eyes, some clones coming through and some Jedi swinging lightsabers, and we all started talking about who could that be, and that was a great moment. But then Mandalorian season 2, we get a vat, right? There's like a vat of some body, some physical body in there they come across in that Imperial stronghold.
Yeah.
And it's like they started to zoom in. They held the camera there just long enough to get everybody going, wait, what's that? Is that Snoke? Is that a body? Is that a clone? What am I seeing? And they cut it away.
Yep.
They don't want us to know, Yeah. And then, of course, season 1, they're after his blood. They even say it. The cloner is sucking his blood out. He's got the patch from the clone from Camino.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now in the trailer, we've seen that guy is back. So
yeah.
Will we get answers, guys?
I don't know. I know they're trying their best to connect, to save the sequels with these shows, trying to connect the whole dots with Palpatine coming back and Snoke being a clone. They're even doing it in Bad Batch. I mean, I don't know if you guys have caught up, but there are some more cloning stuff in Bad Batch too. So
I've seen through the Wookiee episode.
Yeah.
That was a good episode, by the way.
Yes, it was a good episode. He's one of my favorite Jedi. The lightsaber, the Gunji. Yeah.
Yeah, little guy.
Anyway. So I don't know. I just, with all these new shows being made, but they're trying to help the sequels, a desperate attempt to help the sequels. It's just, I hope it doesn't affect the good stories. I hope it doesn't affect the Star Wars that we know and love, because they're trying to save the Star Wars that they messed up,
Yeah, I see where you're going. I think they each, like you just said, they have a main story. This is more of a side thing that they've been throwing in there. It's definitely not the main. I guess it's the main push, because it could be.
It could be in the end. Yeah, at the end we might see what they're trying to do.
This is what Filoni did with the prequels. This is why the Clone Wars was created, and it fixed a lot of the problems that the prequels had. So
absolutely,
why not do it for
right.
the sequel trilogy?
Yeah, you might not realize that the prequels were not a lot of people like the prequels.
Oh no, of course not. Yeah, no, yeah.
And Clone Wars is probably what gave everybody so much balance there. So I think if anything, it could answer questions.
Yeah.
And when we have more answers, it's not going to fix. You can never fix what happened. It's just that story turned out to be a big. There's no reason that story happened. That's in the end. There's nothing that happened. But there was, because they didn't even bother telling us why we're here. And I think these shows will get us to the why we got here, how we got here, which helps. I think having more information helps you at least be able to swallow that pill.
Yeah.
I mean, if we could see possibly, Snoke, how he came about, and the rise of the First Order, stuff like that, stuff that would bridge the gap, man. Because
Yeah,
it's a big gap. And we'll see more of Luke and what he went through. Maybe even have his own spin-off show at some point, of what he went through.
There's a recent rumor about that, by the way. So, I don't know if we want to talk about that.
Even in Mando season 2, during the Ahsoka show, we do see that Thrawn is still alive.
Yes.
So that could be a possible answer as to why Palpatine is cloned, because he was very loyal to the Emperor. So it's like.
Well, yeah. Is that in the new canon or old canon?
Well, in new canon. Like,
what are we talking about?
Thrawn being loyal to the Emperor.
Thrawn being, because
mainly new, because in the old canon, Emperor was already dead when Thrawn came to be.
Yeah, that's new canon.
Oh, that's true.
Thrawn was the heir to the Empire. So
right.
But yeah, in the new canon, he is loyal to Sidious. But he has his reasons. He says he's kind of like a Thanos in the sense that he thinks he's doing the greater good, because in the unknown regions, there are greater threats, apparently, that they haven't really gotten into much. But his job is to basically be out here and learn the Empire and make them strong and whole, so he can actually help the Chiss ascendancy in the unknown regions, essentially hit something new. Like they were starting to push, especially in the new canon books, something that was reminiscent of. I'm going to give you all a little old school Star Wars history here, but the Yuuzhan Vong that was the next big villain after in the sequel books back in the day. The Yuuzhan Vong were a species from the unknown regions that were unaffected by the Force. You could do Force stuff on them, and it didn't affect them.
I remember. I got into it. I think a little bit.
That was the New Jedi Order. That was those books, right? So they hinted at a similar species. I think they're calling them a new name. In some of these books, especially the Thrawn books, because Timothy Zahn wrote those back in the day. He's writing them now, but he's writing it more to fit in with this universe. Disney Plus hasn't gone near that. They haven't touched anything about that species. Maybe if they do continue a Rey story, perhaps that's the bigger thing we've been waiting on, is like something beyond the Empire. And hey, if they can't be affected by the Force, how do they come to be? Maybe it will tie into something really interesting if they ever go that way. But Thrawn is kind of the key to that, at least in the books. And I'm talking the new Disney canon books. That is Thrawn's thing. So who knows? World Between Worlds. If he comes back and he's a different person, I think he's gonna be the kind of villain that's like a villain, but at some point you might side with this villain because he's not after like just evil. He's not the Emperor. He's not there, like, Kylo Ren's whole thing was.
You think he's kind of more like Thanos? Like he has that kind of.
He's a lot. He's got
a lot like
he's
Thanos.
Doing it for good. He's doing it for what he feels is good. I mean, the Emperor, you could say the same thing, but we know the Emperor isn't about peace and security, and he's more about.
I sided with Thanos in a lot of ways. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't all wrong. Let's be honest, he wasn't. He wasn't all wrong.
A lot of Thrawn. Now, Thrawn, I don't think is this. I think Thanos was genocidal, and I don't think Thrawn's even that bad. Thrawn is more of a no. The Empire is the ones with the winning. They're the ones that are going to win this battle, so they need to be the ones that are the strongest power that could take on the threats in the unknown region. Like that's truly why he's behind it. Like, which is an interesting way to go about it. So I don't even know how we got there, other than Thrawn is going to show up in.
I was just saying that in this new Star Wars style, we could see that maybe Grand Admiral Thrawn is the reason why the First Order is being made. Like he's helping the Emperor continue the legacy of the Empire, or not the First Order, like the New Order, that under the one that they're building up for years and years with the 3 million Star Destroyers coming out of the
Final Order. It's
the
possible.
The Final Order,
They would, if they were smart, they would have just put him in there, like they were possibly gonna do with maybe an older script. But I mean, there was rumor of Thrawn, never happened.
There was a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So many good ideas that they just thought people didn't know what to do with. So
let's go back a little bit though.
Yeah, sorry.
In the trailer for Mando 3, we do see
that's right.
Looks like a flashback sequence of Order 66 where Grogu looks like he's being either rescued or whatever. But
run out.
Do you guys think they're actually going to show him being rescued this time?
We hope. That's what we're all asking for.
Yeah.
And if he does, who do you think is the one that actually rescues?
We have our fingers crossed.
It's Mace Windu. Of course, yeah.
It could be Mace. Could have been
no purple lightsabers?
No, it's purple lightsabers.
That's from.
Oh, that's either the good guys are blue and green, right, and the bad guys are red.
Bad guys are red. Oh, purple lightsabers.
Oh, purple. Oh, like purple for you.
You might get purple.
That's how easily persuaded George Lucas to say his craft, like his story. Like, okay.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
Sure. Okay, so but do you think it could anyway be Ahsoka that saves him?
Well, Ahsoka, like,
no, because
the story from Grogu.
Right, but she keep playing stupid. Like,
no, remember during Order 66, Ahsoka was in a whole different scenario.
Okay,
she was fighting Darth Maul.
Well, I've also heard this theory, and I got this from John Campion. By the way.
Oh, okay.
And it makes true in the sense of the timeline.
I know exactly what you're gonna say. I heard it.
Jar Jar was the one that saved Grogu. Now it would be crazy, but if they actually do it, it wouldn't be crazy because it actually makes sense in the timeline. But I can't see it. I can't see him like breaking through the door and be like, Grogu, come with me. I saved you. And then he gets shot by a clone trooper. Misa damn.
Man.
I just can't. It wouldn't go good with the audience. I can't see it.
Okay, Grogu. I'm pretty sure when he was talking to Ahsoka, Grogu did say a Jedi rescued him. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe, but it also explains why he would black out because he's like, I'm gonna pretend my mind. There's dark times. I'm not gonna remember this guy's jokes. So.
It's gonna be hard to determine because Mace Windu will probably be the only other Jedi on that planet during that time during Order 66 because all the other big ones, Plo Koon, Luminara, they're all doing other missions on other planets and they were all dead on their own accord. Obviously Obi-Wan and Yoda were not there. So when it comes to big name Jedi, the only one we can think of is Mace Windu.
It's gotta be Mace.
It's gotta be Mace.
It's his time. It's his time.
It's his time. We've been building up,
you know. I mean, I remember Bryce Dallas Howard had a conversation with Samuel L. Jackson about how they wanted to work together and they wanted to, rumors that Mace would come back. And Bryce Dallas Howard is directing, I think, 1 or 2 episodes in this season, so it would make sense.
Well,
so you got to think about it too. There's that part of when you want to just kind of step outside of the story and just think about the hype for a little while. Yeah. They had this conversation of how can we not say we're trying to beat the Luke Skywalker thing, but how can we deliver something that's almost equal enough to be that hyped up the audience, that gave the fans what they wanted in a very hypey way. That's the only one we can really think of. Right? Yeah. I mean, what else could it be?
What else? Yeah.
If he comes back and his arm's missing and he's fighting for his life to just take on some people and he's being good old Samuel L. Mace, and he saves Grogu, whether he dies or continues on and is a character now that's a hidden character we never knew was there. God, that'd be great. And who better to deliver than Bryce and Filoni and Favreau? Yeah. I think it's the only true hype they can go with right now. Maybe they'll surprise us, and maybe it's someone like Ezra. I don't know. Maybe there was another hype I'm not thinking of.
Ezra wasn't even in. He was born that day. He was born on Order 60 on Empire Day.
Yeah.
Well, what about the other character, Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character?
Kanan was a kid. He was on another planet. Bad Batch.
Yep.
The first episode.
Yes. That's right. Yeah.
Good point.
It's very hard to find a Jedi that was there. Because I was even thinking video games. I was thinking of Cal Kestis, but he was also on another. He was on a ship when it happened. So it's I don't know.
Yeah.
It would be. Oh, it could be Reva. She was a little girl. She got stabbed. She got stabbed right there.
Do you imagine how disappointing that would be? Are you serious?
Yeah.
You put it in my mind, and it's a possibility. You put it in my mind.
Not with Filoni. He wouldn't ruin that.
No, I swear to God.
All right. So, what are the chances that we'll get an appearance of maybe Thrawn in this series?
0.
Just maybe towards the end. Because remember, this
0.
is kind of like a follow-up to
Ahsoka. This is the pre.
It could be. He could throw in a little cameo.
I think he could be an end credit. He could be either a finale episode or an end credit.
I think they're gonna save him for Ahsoka.
Obviously, he's gonna be the main, villain in Ahsoka. But I won't go past Filoni to put him in for a second.
Yeah, it's his show too. They're both his shows, so I think he could do kind of like the Book of Boba Fett. All right, we're gonna give you a little tease right at the end here, and it's Thrawn doing just onto the bridge or something, or you just see him from the back and you can't see his blue skin yet because the lighting.
They did mention his name.
Yeah, of course.
In Mando season 2.
So.
We know that. Yeah, that's where that's the only reason.
But it was Ahsoka looking for him. You know, it was like
yeah.
And so yeah, he turns. It's a shadow. You can't tell his blue skin yet, but as he starts to turn, you can see a little light hue, but his eye, you can see that red glowing eye. It's like, ooh, that would look good.
Now, what are the chances of us seeing Mandalorian Sabine Wren possibility?
Yeah, I think that's up. That's a good chance.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think she'll show up.
They're going to Mandalore, right? So I think we're gonna get.
Oh yeah.
That we might. Didn't I hear? Oh no, Syndulla is cast for Ahsoka.
For Ahsoka, correct. Yeah, Syndulla and Sabine are both confirmed in Ahsoka. So
you never know. Now, if I recall, Ahsoka when Rosario Dawson was cast, it was not long after that she was in a full episode, and we're like, we never expected her to be a lead in this episode. We thought maybe we'd see a tiny cameo or something.
Exactly.
We didn't. If you remember the hype, none of us thought she was going to be like full
on white lightsabers on the screen. Just
out of nowhere, Syndulla could jump in and be like, "Yo, what's up?" I'm like,
"It's very true." Yeah.
Look, I remember there were so many like truth bombs that came out of Mando season 2 before the show premiered, because they're saying we're gonna get Ahsoka, we're gonna get Boba Fett, and we're like, okay, sure, right. And remember, this was after the Rise of Skywalker. Disappointed in Star Wars.
It was over,
They were like, yeah, okay, sure. All these rumors, whatever.
Yeah.
And they delivered in everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So
more than over expected. Like, you can't beat that.
It's gonna be really hard to beat.
No, it's hard.
Are we hyped? Are we hyped too much? That's a good question.
That we might. Our expectations are up here right now because of season 2. So if the season's down here,
reality check. Yeah. Well, I was doing this whole thing, so I was like, we had this reality check. And then the problem is Andor gave us a bit of a boost again.
Yeah. And
we know to expect a lot from Mandalorian. So I think our expectations are respectfully and properly somewhere in between halfway and amazing. Yeah. So if we get 75% with season 3, that should be good. I think season 2 is going to be hard to beat. So I think if it's a little less than season 2, I think it'll be okay. We got Ahsoka around the corner.
I don't know, man. It's taken 3 years. I want some good stuff,
I will agree. I really,
look. The good thing is, if it doesn't deliver, we still have Ahsoka this year too.
True. So when is Ahsoka release again?
It's gonna come out later this year, probably like in October, maybe.
November.
But this year, so I mean that's not bad. We still,
So if Ahsoka is in the show again, possibly we could that could be a direct. Ahsoka could be a continuation of ending of Mando season 3.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly how I see this. I think Mandalorian and Ahsoka. If Mandalorian continues to season 4, maybe it will, maybe it won't. It's going to be swip swap Ahsoka and Mandalorian, just like Boba Fett had Mando pop in and Ahsoka pop in and Luke pop in. We're going to get all that. I think you're going to get some Luke and Mandalorian. You're going to get Luke and Ahsoka. Now, it's going to be all just different titles.
It's interesting because Mando season 2 started 2 spin-off shows. Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So what is season 3 going to bring us?
Ooh.
Is it possible that season 3 can bring us more spin-off Star Wars shows?
The Luke Skywalker show, please.
The Mace Windu show.
Mace Windu show. Yes, the Mace Windu show.
So
that'd be so good.
Yeah.
Damn, that'd be so good.
Me and Brett were talking yesterday that this theory was just started thinking too much into it, but how Mace could actually lead into a bigger story, because the Emperor, I'm pretty sure, if he finds out that Mace is alive, he hates the shit out of Mace. Mace scarred his face. You know what I mean? He had him beat. So imagine the Emperor finds out Mace is still alive. He's gonna go after him.
Yeah.
And probably capture him. And we're thinking he'll probably. That was where I thought that maybe that Snoke is a mixture of DNA of Mace.
Of Mace, yeah.
And all these cool theories that
for a while
play out, it makes sense.
When they first showed Snoke, I remember the theory that people thought he was Mace Windu, like it was the body of Mace Windu. Yeah,
he's all scarred up and all. Yeah.
I mean, they Frankenstein his ass. He looks like all cut up and hey, let's take a piece of that and stretch him and grow him, like put him in a tank and let him grow like a freaking what was the just add water dinosaurs when we were little kids, the instant dinosaurs, remember those things? They're like
the pill capsules.
Put them in a cup and whoop, dinosaur.
Yeah. It's really funny you said that Mace Windu messed up his face from electricity, but really that was the Emperor's doing. You'd think he'd learn from his mistakes. The second time around. Right. And Rise of Skywalker, the same thing.
Right. Same thing. That was such a dumb thing. But another really cool thing is we've got Boba Fett alive and well. And what if Mace Windu and Boba Fett meet? Right? Think about that one. That could happen.
What if Boba Fett and Mace Windu meet?
That's what I just said.
I thought you said Mando. My bad. I heard. Okay, I heard Mando.
Yeah.
I meant Boba Fett. I meant like, okay, you killed my father, you son of a bitch. Prepare to die.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was a lot of people's predictions from the last season because Boba Fett was introduced, and we're like, oh my god, Mace Windu is gonna come and kill Boba Fett.
Mace Windu comes back now. Yeah. That could be something. Hell, we thought Mace could have come back in Obi-Wan. We had some really cool thoughts for Mace returning because we're like, what if Mace comes back? And he's so obsessed with Anakin is evil. I told you, I'm gonna kill him.
Listen, the amount of content that they've released and they haven't put Mace Windu in, they have to do it this season because fans have been talking about it for years now. It's been years since they have to come back.
I mean, it was almost the same thing with Boba Fett. For years, they were talking, when is Boba Fett's still around? He's around. He's there. And then finally, they brought him back, and he was canon. So it'll happen for Mace too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I think it's. Wait. What about that Jedi character? God, what was his name? That they mentioned in Obi-Wan in the caves. Remember, he was
Quinlan Voss.
That could be another one. Ooh. Maybe he saved Grogu.
We could see him with Asajj Ventress.
I'd be cool with that though. I'd be like, all right, that's cool.
That's a good one.
If it's not Mace,
that's straight up Filoni too. Like I would love that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was in Clone Wars as well.
Can you imagine? And then it's Jason Momoa. He's perfect. Like
perfect.
That would be perfect, but you still.
Yeah, he would have been.
But you know what? He's cool enough. I think he would do it though. If they asked him to do it, I'd be like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah,
I'm the coolest Jedi. He's like popping a beer at Celebration. You want a beer, Kathleen? And I'm so happy to show us someone who's been a fan for so long, Jason Momoa. And he gets out there and yeah. So Celebration is around the corner, and the last rumor I heard today or yesterday was that someone's talking about this deep fake Luke show. Like maybe let's make a full thing, They even said, can we because of Indiana Jones being deep faked with Harrison Ford, they're like, hell, would they actually go with Carrie Fisher and actually use her and show some shit? I mean,
be a lot of money. To be a lot of money.
It could be a lot of money, but man, if it sells, hell, you got to bring back. If you can bring back the original trilogy,
honestly,
put them together.
Even if they didn't want to go the deep fake route, I wouldn't mind Sebastian Stan doing.
I wouldn't either.
I'd go for it.
I think it'd be great. I think at this point, Kathleen Kennedy's convinced. Oh, that's why Solo failed, right? Because we didn't deep fake him.
I'm hoping her time is done by the time Indiana Jones comes. I hope that rumor's true.
Yeah,
so we can get past this and maybe
Yep.
Kind of salvage what's been destroyed.
Either Sebastian Stan or that dude from the guy from Eternals who played Icarus. What's his name? I forgot.
Yeah, he looks like him too.
Oh, you mean Game of Thrones? What are you talking about?
The guy who plays Icarus in Eternals.
Yeah, he was in Game of Thrones. He's.
Who did he play in Game of Thrones?
No, you're talking about Jon Snow guy.
No, not Jon Snow.
No, not Kit Harington.
His brother. No, not Kit Harington. Oh my god, I'm getting so.
Oh yeah, Rob Stark. Rob Stark. Yeah, he plays Rob. Yeah.
I'm so sad. Oh my god.
I'm just as bad.
Yeah, Rob Stark. Yeah. I mean, I don't know because I feel like Rob Stark. His face is just.
I don't know the actor's name.
Brained in me.
It's killing me. What is the actor's name?
His name is Rob Stark.
His name's not Rob Stark, guys. I'm trying to remember the actor's name.
I know.
Olsen.
What's his name? Yeah. What's his name?
I'm gonna look it up.
All right.
Yeah, but I'd be fine. Honestly, yeah, I'd be cool with it too.
Recast, and no one else might agree with this.
Richard Madden.
At that point,
Richard Madden.
Fine. I never would have known that. If they recast, I'm fine. If they put Sebastian Stan, this guy, a new Leia, I honestly think they should. Call me crazy, but take the guy who played Solo and maybe age him up a little bit because at least he's in there.
I was cool with him, man.
Yeah, it's like the poor guy.
Solo was another movie that not everyone loved, but it introduced a lot of cool shit that we could definitely see spin-offs off.
I loved it.
Man,
it made me buy a Sabacc set. I don't want to play Sabacc now.
Sabacc, but what about this girl? What's her name?
Emilia Clarke.
My baby. Yeah. She. I mean. Her character was awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, they could easily have a show with her and Darth Maul and continue that, man.
What happened to it? Like we were supposed to get Lando, man. They had. I just saw today, like the old she had at one point 3 years ago Kathleen behind her, like every show coming out, every movie, and it was like that was a good looking lineup, man. What happened to that? You know?
I don't know.
We had Lando, we had the Rangers of the Republic. Acolyte, I think is still happening, but who knows?
That's the only thing that's happening. Yeah, it's funny. I was going back to Solo because I'll never forget when me and my brother saw it, and at the end, Darth Maul came out. It was such a shocking moment because I can't believe that he did it. I remember I looked at him. I'm like,
no way.
Because I couldn't believe they actually pulled, something from Clone Wars and made it real. Like, oh my god, they actually made it.
Straight up Crimson Dawn. It was like right there.
People were so confused. I remember leaving the theater. People were like, "But I'm confused. Did he die in Phantom Menace?" No idea. They had no idea because they never watched the Clone Wars or Rebels or anything.
Test. Yeah, that was a test, and the audience loved it. The main audience, the proper audience, actually liked that. But that was the early sign of like, could Ahsoka come and get in here somehow? Can we get some Ahsoka up in this? That's before Mandalorian too.
But you're right. That whole Kathleen shit about Solo proved that they don't want to recast.
Yeah, she doesn't know.
Shut up.
We would have been fine with the recast. I would have been fine if in Mandalorian it was Sebastian Stan. In fact, I may have liked it more, and part of me almost would have liked that better.
But that wasn't why the movie failed. There was 2 reasons why it failed. One, because of the Last Jedi, and 2, I remember specifically. Nobody wanted to see a Solo movie. Nope. No one was excited for it. Nobody. Nope. But it ended up being actually okay.
It was. Nobody wanted to see it.
At the same time, actually 3 reasons. And also, a week before that, guess what just came out?
I don't remember.
Avengers Infinity War. So that was like the big thing at the time. It was, taking over.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
I forgot that was like right there.
It came out like a week. Yeah. Solo came out a week after Infinity War.
Damn.
That's the ranking of the box office, man. It was, come on. So those 3 reasons right there are the reasons why it failed.
Yep. Poor Solo.
Yep. But so yeah, Mando season 3, man.
Mando season 3. Super exciting.
What else? Like there's all these. Who's going to be the guy? So if Mace is it, that's great. But what about the story? Like, what are we really going to get out of this?
It's going to be a conflict between Bo-Katan, Mando. Yeah. Like it's
that's a good story.
It's going to be who is the true ruler of Mandalore. That's what it's going to end up being.
I mean, the fact that he's wielding that dark saber and he's gonna like fight with it—that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
I know. And we saw him do it in Boba, and now
you saw him struggle. The same struggles that Sabine Wren had with it when she was training with it. It's heavy. It's a heavy blade, so it's like you have to adjust to it. So it's like it's cool seeing the same struggles again when it comes to new wielders of the blade. So it's like fantastic.
For Filoni, this show is nothing more than a live-action sequel to Rebels and Clone Wars. Like, I love that about it. This is all it is. And Ahsoka's going to be yet another one. It's fucking great.
It is. It's fantastic.
And I feel like Obi-Wan and Acolyte are going to have a lot in common because you're going to get very different creators that have their own, like, I've got this idea what Star Wars should be. And it's just going to... I'm sorry. That's what's going to happen. We're all calling it now. The Acolyte's going to be very much in tune with some things we saw in Obi-Wan. And I'm sorry to say that. I wish it was cool. It sounds like a great premise. It's a great setting.
It's sad. The Filoniverse has truly become my favorite part of Star Wars, like recently, like as a whole, because it's just so well written.
You know what?
But it's sad because Acolyte's just going to be... we expected a lot from Acolyte, too, because it was like, an actual Sith story. That's what they promoted it as.
Yeah, that's the bad part. It's a Sith story, right? But the only thing it has going for it, it doesn't have any big legend characters like Obi-Wan in it. I mean, Obi-Wan had... it was like... That's top 3 like
Star Wars characters,
Star Wars. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Easily. Acolyte doesn't have that. I feel like even if it fails, maybe it won't do too much damage.
No,
like, okay, because we see it coming from a mile away, and might actually, believe it or not, it might not be as bad as we think because our expectations are so low.
And because we don't know anybody, so it's safe in a lot of ways. You're like, it's new. They can do whatever they want with these people, and
again,
it takes place 100 years before
ish, around there. Yeah,
it's like the end of the High Republic. So you have to actually. Well, it's the end of it, so it's probably like the age that ends the High Republic and brings us into the Phantom Menace era.
Again, I hope it's not another show that follows this new Disney pattern of changing stories, narratives to appeal to a new audience. That's
90,
what this one's all about.
Sure it's gonna be.
I know it is, but
look at they cast everybody to make it as diverse as possible. Nothing wrong with that. But it's gonna speak to what their goal is like, hey, we're reaching audiences. That's what we cast so this way because we want the maximum effect of audiences. That's what we're after now, a new audience. It's a new show, new audience. Fuck off old fans. That's kind of what they're looking at. Like, we don't care. Now, I could get into it if they are that new and different that it doesn't even make me concerned. Just like we talked about. Fine. Yeah. Go that way. If you're going to connect it, which, probably safe for them is if they actually make a tie to like somehow Plagueis or something that's like heard of. Like, okay, we know that did take place, so now we're going to see the very early beginnings of that. That could be cool for fans.
Yeah.
Again, they can't mess that up. If Plagueis is a fruitcake, that's not going to fly.
If feeling exactly what's going to happen too.
That's what I'm getting. I'm like, if Plagueis is a fruitcake, like if this little character who is in Hunger Games is going to somehow turn into Darth Plagueis, it's like, no, I can't deal with this anymore. Like, why do you?
Yeah.
Very highly likely.
Yeah.
Highly likely. Yeah, Palpatine's or Sidious's master could be, the frail person.
I could totally see Kathleen Kennedy pulling that too, because you could probably see, oh yeah, these fans want Palpatine to be screamed for, not Palpatine, Plagueis. All these years, I'll give you Plagueis. I'll give you Plagueis.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she'll give us.
And that's Star Wars Celebration that year when it comes out, holding the mic. We know you've been wanting Plagueis, so we delivered. And then I said, how terrible.
Well, here's Plagueis. It's Pelega, who I like to call it. Here's a surprise.
Pelega.
A well-known actress. It's Cameron Diaz. And what?
Hello. It's like, oh, she is aging. Yeah. The plastic surgery starts to fail. It's like, oh, Snoke. I get it. Damn. So, yep.
I don't know what to expect. So, I mean, again, Mando Season 3 is what we're all super excited about. That's what we're here for. That's what's premiering tomorrow, 3 o'clock in the morning. So, I'm not going to watch that early, but it's super exciting.
I'll like at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll wake up.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, maybe we should just do it. Watch in the morning. We can talk about it in the afternoon.
Yeah. I get out of work at 5:30, so.
That's the case. I need to go to bed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, we did forget about Skeleton Crew. That's something else that's supposed to happen.
Jude Law with that one, right? Yeah.
The kids. The hope is that's a Goonies-like show. So
yeah. So I don't think it's gonna mess up the lore. It's just gonna be something fun.
It's something fun. It exists in Star Wars. It's a floating ship. Yeah, that sounds fine.
Yeah. Although I did hear they're gonna have I think they're gonna have a Ahsoka trailer on Star Wars Celebration. So that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be cool.
Celebration. When is it? May the 4th? Does it sounds right?
No, it's in April. I think next month.
Weird. Why wouldn't they do it on Star Wars Day?
One of my favorite non Filoni related projects they did, but also non-canon projects was Star Wars Visions, and I have have a little Funko Pop here for.
Oh, look at that!
The droid, the first episode. Oh, I love this episode. And apparently, there's rumor that they're going to come out with Vision Season 2, continuing the first stories. So
what are your quick expectations then for Celebration?
Ahsoka trailer.
Ahsoka trailer, hopefully a teaser at least.
Probably Obi-Wan Season 2 announcement.
Possibly. Actually, I bet it'll happen.
Please, no.
I bet it'll happen.
Visions Season 2, possibly.
Vision Season 2. Bad Batch Season 3 already? Maybe.
Season 2's not done yet, so
teaser.
I don't think so. Acolyte, maybe.
Acolyte. If I'm ready. Let's see a teaser. Like if they want to start.
I know they're filming. I know they're filming it, and so the production should be wrapping pretty soon on it.
That's true. Good. They could come out with a trailer because I remember in the last Celebration they had just started filming Ahsoka like 3 weeks ago, and they had a little teaser of Ahsoka like right there. I was like, wow, that was fast. So it's possible.
It could work. It's probably it. Maybe a Skeleton Crew. Maybe like the actors come out on stage or something. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
But I would love a new show announcement that's worth a damn, or an actual movie announcement.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Maybe they will announce an actual movie project that they're.
Status of
is Taika's movie just not in the works anymore, or
he's in a list of directors that say they're gonna write something but they haven't. The closest one I've seen so far that I keep hearing rumors about and talks about is
Lindelof.
Yeah, that's the only one that I keep hearing that he's
a sequel Rey movie.
Yeah, maybe that'll be announced. Maybe can you imagine Daisy Ridley coming on stage announcing she's gonna be a part of.
That would be a shock.
Rey Skywalker herself. That's what's gonna happen. Everyone will go.
In the rematch of the century.
Oh,
I don't know.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo comes back.
No, she dies
Somehow
and she
Kylo-
fights him in the ghost.
Somehow Kylo survives, right? Somehow Kylo survives. Yep, he split. Really, his good side stayed, and his dark ghost went off to jump in a clone body of the Emperor again, who will come back again. I mean, he's got like 50 clones back here. He just went into another one.
Oh,
we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Great episode.
That was fantastic. Super fun.
All
Mando
right,
season 3.
Mando season 3.
All right, I guess I'll wake up and watch that shit.
Yep.
Let's do
All right.
it.
All right.
See you guys next time.
Bye.
Adios.
Away.